In the quiet expanse of a national cemetery, beneath a sky the color of worn steel, a solemn hush reigned over the gathering of mourners. American flags rippled gently in a frigid breeze, their red, white, and blue hues a stark contrast against the gray of the day. The air was heavy with sorrow and reverence, each step on the time-worn gravestones echoing the weight of loss and the enduring spirit of sacrifice. It was here, amidst rows of white marble markers and carefully tended lawns, that the nation had come to pay its final respects to a fallen hero. At the center of it all lay a polished oak casket, draped in the American flag, its surface gleaming under the muted light. Beside the casket stood a solitary figure that captured every heart in attendance, a magnificent German shepherd with eyes that shimmered with quiet grief and unwavering devotion. The dog, known simply as Shadow, remained close to the casket, his broad frame trembling subtly in the chill. His posture, both proud and sorrowful, seemed to speak of countless memories shared on distant battlefields and in moments of fierce loyalty. Shadow had served alongside his master on perilous missions, and now, in the wake of that eternal farewell, his mournful silence testified to a bond that death itself could not sever. A few paces away, through tears and tentative steps, moved Claire, a young woman whose eyes shone with both sorrow and fierce determination. Claire, the cherished daughter of the fallen soldier, had grown up with an enduring love for her father and an unspoken kinship with Shadow. She remembered him not solely as the brave man who had served with distinction on the battlefield and in the military's K9 unit, but as the gentle soul who had always smiled at her, whose warm embrace had comforted her on stormy nights, and whose absence now left a palpable void. As the mourners gathered in respectful silence, the haunting strains of a bugle call sliced through the heavy air. One by one, a 21-gun salute resonated across the cemetery, each thunderous boom a poignant tribute to a life dedicated to honor, courage, and service. In that resounding moment, as the final echoes of the salute faded into the stillness, something inexplicable stirred among the assembled. Shadow, who had remained loyal and motionless by the casket's side, suddenly lifted his head. His keen eyes darted upward as though catching a whisper on the wind, a presence unseen yet profoundly felt. A soft murmur like the murmuring of distant voices or the rustle of pages in an old, cherished book seemed to emanate from the air. It was as if, in that fragile instant, the gentle echo of his master's spirit had brushed past him. The flag above, caught in a brief but unmistakable gust of wind, billowed with an almost purposeful grace. In that fleeting moment, Shadow's ears perked and his eyes glistened with a deep, unspoken understanding. The canine's gentle whimper, almost imperceptible to most, resonated through the quiet, stirring hearts and blurring the line between grief and solace. Claire, standing at the edge of that sacred congregation, felt time pause. In her mind, memories of her father flooded back, his reassuring laughter, his quiet strength during hard times, and those moments when, amid the chaos of battle, he had reached out to soothe an injured comrade or laugh with his loyal companion. And now, as Shadow's gaze met hers with an intensity that transcended mere animal instinct, she sensed that the bond between her father and his faithful friend was not confined to the realm of mortality. Somewhere in that inexplicable communion of spirit and sound, the essence of her father whispered a promise that love endures beyond the boundaries of death. The service continued with measured dignity, hymns that spoke of eternal rest and reunions in a faraway land, and readings that celebrated bravery and sacrifice. Yet no passage, no hymn, could fully capture the raw, unyielding emotion that pulsed beneath the surface of each mourner's heart. Throughout the ceremony, Shadow remained by the casket's edge, occasionally shifting his weight as if searching for comfort, sometimes lowering his head in subdued reverence. It was as if he guarded a secret, a memory of his master's touch, or a silent promise that he would remain forever vigilant, a living emblem of loyalty. After the service concluded and the final benediction had been offered, the crowd slowly dispersed along winding paths flanked by proud monuments and well-tended flower beds. Yet, as the last of the mourners drifted away, Claire lingered. She knelt by the casket, laying her trembling hand on the cool wood, and closed her eyes. In that private moment of communion, her thoughts wandered to times when her father would sit with her beneath a sprawling oak tree and speak of honor, duty, and the simple joys of companionship. She could almost hear his soft, measured voice, gentle and reassuring, as if carried by the wind itself. In the ensuing days, the memory of the funeral settled over the family like a bittersweet veil. The days that followed were filled with a quiet determination, an unspoken commitment to honor her father's legacy. Claire found solace in the presence of Shadow, whose silent companionship had become the cornerstone of her healing journey. Every day, as the soft light of dawn crept over the horizon, she would take Shadow for long walks along the cemetery's winding paths, letting the crisp air and the rustling whispers of history guide her steps. Each step was a silent conversation. Between grief and hope, a reminder that even though her father was no longer physically present, the values he embodied and the love he had given could still illuminate the darkest corners of her heart. As time passed, the enigmatic moment at the funeral when Shadow had reacted to an unseen presence began to weave itself into the tapestry of Claire's memories. Late one autumn afternoon, as the golden hues of sunset spilled over a dewy field, Claire sat on a weathered bench, Shadow lying faithfully at her feet. Lost in thought, she absent-mindedly reached for her phone. The screen flickered with an incoming voicemail, a message left by a distant friend, one who had been with her father during his final days. The message, crackling with emotion and static, played softly. He always believed that true loyalty was eternal. Remember him in every kind act, in every moment of courage, and know that he lives on in every heartbeat that chooses hope over despair. In that moment, as the voicemail echoed across the quiet field, Shadow lifted his head, his eyes alight with an inner fire that belied his grief. It was as if the message breathed life back into the memories of a father's love, a love that transcended the veil of death and whispered timeless assurances to both canine and child. Deeply moved by that inexplicable confirmation of her father's enduring presence, Claire decided to honor his memory in the most personal way possible. With the quiet encouragement of the community, she began volunteering at local rehabilitation centers for veterans and their families, and even started training to work with military canines determined to nurture the very spirit of loyalty and courage that had defined her father and that now shone in Shadow. Under her gentle guidance, and with the steadfast support of the faithful dog who had silently borne witness to so much sorrow and so much hope, Claire began to heal. The old wounds of loss, which had once threatened to leave her adrift in a sea of grief, slowly gave way to a burgeoning sense of purpose, a purpose rooted in the belief that every act of kindness, every gesture of loyalty, and every compassionate effort could stitch together a future brighter than the darkest of nights. Each day brought small miracles. Shadow, once a creature defined by loss, now trotted with a renewed spring in his step as he accompanied Claire on her endeavors. In moments of quiet reflection, as she sat in the soft glow of twilight surrounded by the comforting hum of community and nature, Claire felt the gentle caress of her father's memory, a touch not seen, yet deeply felt, like a whisper on the wind. In those moments, she understood that the bonds of love do not break with death. They are merely transformed. They become the silent undercurrent of every kind word, every courageous act, every step taken toward a future defined by hope and healing. In the fullness of time, the once somber cemetery, a place of final farewells, became for Claire a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring legacy of love. The memory of Sergeant John Hardin, the soldier who had given his all on the battlefield and whose heart had been as vast as the open skies, lived on in every gesture, every smile, every act of kindness shared at the memorial services that she helped organize in his honor. Shadow, steadfast and ever loyal, continued to guard his beloved master's final resting place, his presence a moving reminder that true devotion outlasts even death. And in the soft glow of each new day, as American flags danced gently in the breeze and the echoes of bugle calls resonated across the hallowed grounds, Claire found comfort in the knowledge that the love between her father and his faithful friend had not been extinguished, but had merely taken on a new form, a luminous beacon, guiding her toward a brighter tomorrow. On one such day, beneath a sky brushed with the warm colors of early spring, a gentle ceremony was held, a celebration of life, loyalty, and unbreakable bonds. As friends, family, and veterans gathered to commemorate the legacy of a true hero, Claire stepped forward to speak. With Shadow standing regally by her side, she recalled the simple truth that had sustained her through the darkest hours. My father believed that love and loyalty are eternal, that even in the quiet moments after loss, we can feel the presence of those we hold dear. Today, as I stand here with Shadow, I feel his spirit in every gentle breeze and every smile of remembrance. His legacy lives on not just in our memories, but in every act of kindness, every moment of courage, and every heart that chooses hope over despair. Her voice, trembling with emotion yet strong with conviction, wove through the crowd like a gentle promise. In that moment, as the soft murmur of heartfelt applause washed over the gathered mourners, Claire felt the full circle of her journey. Grief transformed into purpose, loss transmuted into hope. The spirit of her father, embodied not only in the faded photographs and cherished memories, but in the steadfast loyalty of the German shepherd at her side, had lit a path toward healing, inviting all who listened to believe that the bonds we forge in life can indeed transcend the confines of mortality. As the ceremony drew to a close, the soft rustling of the American flags overhead and the distant call of a bugle mingled with the tender smiles and quiet tears of those who had come to say farewell. Shadow, ever vigilant, lingered near the casket as if guarding a secret promise, a promise that the love between a soldier and his family, between a father and his daughter, between a man and his loyal K9 companion, would endure through every storm of life. For in every heartbeat, in every whispered prayer, and in every ray of gentle sunlight that broke through the gray skies, the memory of Sergeant John Hardin shone brightly, a guiding light that would never be extinguished. In the days, months, and years that followed that unforgettable afternoon, Claire embraced her new purpose with quiet determination. She pursued training with military K9 units, worked closely with veteran organizations, and became a pillar of support for those struggling with loss, much as her father had once stood for his comrades. With Shadow as her constant companion, an ever-present reminder of loyalty and resilience, she nurtured a legacy of care and compassion, ensuring that every life touched by grief could find solace in the unyielding bond of love. And so, beneath the vast expanse of an ever-changing sky, with the gentle flutter of flags and the soft rustle of memories carried by the wind, the story of love, loss, and healing unfolded anew. It was a tale as timeless as the stars, a story that whispered of eternal bonds, unbreakable loyalty, and the quiet hope that every ending can herald a new beginning. As you leave this story behind, remember that even in our darkest hours, the spirit of those we love walks beside us, guiding us toward tomorrow with gentle, enduring light. If you are moved by tales of heartfelt courage, loyal companions, and the profound connections that transcend life and death, join us in exploring more stories that celebrate the eternal bond between animals and the humans who love them. Follow along, share your own experiences, and let your heart be touched by the power of love that never dies. Thank you for taking this journey with us, a journey of remembrance, healing, and the promise of new beginnings.